Hello everyone, it's Jin'taan here, back again. Coming from you live actually from a brand new apartment, as I've been able to achieve the dream of home ownership and actually move out from my parents, which I feel incredibly grateful for. So what you're about to watch today is a series of interviews that I did with various captains of the Anger Games 5, which is something I had a bunch of fun doing, and it's really reignited my drive to sort of create content. So hopefully you guys will see a bit more of this sort of experimental stuff in the next couple of months as I look to figure out what I can really do with this channel, because unfortunately the old political news content that I used to do, it just took a lot of time and a lot of effort from my part that I can't realistically expend anymore. But I hope that I can find something that you guys do enjoy, and if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Been thinking about doing more tier lists or top 5 lists, which was what I sort of used to do as filler content, but we'll see. Anyway, enjoy. So, can you tell us who you are and what team you're representing today?
Yep, sure. I'm RepBot 9000, also known as Rhiload, and I am representing VOLTB.
So, what groups does your team draw from, and what do they do on Tranquility, or how do they know each other?
So the group draws from like the VOLTA AT team. Basically, it's all of VOLTA plus some Tuskers refugees, which is it's a tradition at this point.
What's your favourite ship to fly in a tournament setting?
The Guardian. The reason why is because I've been flying nothing else but the Guardian.
Now, some of the analysts on the desk don't seem to rate the Guardian that highly. What makes it so interesting for you?
Because it's a fucking beast. It reps way more than it reps more than an Eris because you can fit more reps. And if you have to design the Guardian around, you can't just throw it in there and be like, yeah, it's done now, because it needs protection. It's got 3 mids. No, it doesn't even have 3 mids. It has 2 mids even. So you're playing with not a lot of utility, but you have a lot of rep power. So with that, if you have heavy control teams, which we always run the Rook Leshak, it works well. It doesn't really work if you use a Zom because you can only rep one thing. So you're either repping the Rook or you're repping like a Lesh or a Malediction that's got drones on him. You can't do that. You have to spool on the Rook all the time because it's getting shot at by like Paladins or something. So you need a lot of rep power, but there's like drones on a Maledici. So Guardian is MVP. People don't rank it highly. It's frankly not really, I don't want to say they don't know what they're talking about. I don't want to say that at all, but I think the Guardian has a place in the tournament and it's a good ship.
If you don't like the Guardian, it's a skill issue.
I wouldn't say that bad.
What do you say to those in Twitch chat who proclaim ECM as boring or a coward's way to victory?
Jam them first, kill them last.
So are there any other teams in the top 8 that you're looking forward to facing?
Yeah, VOLTA, to be honest. The B team.
Oh, that's interesting, because I just spoke to VOLTA's representative, and they affirmed that there were no B teams or A teams, and it was actually just...
there's no... in reality, it's not really a B team or an A team. We split the teams in two quite fairly, so there's no really B team to it. I think it was more of a joke that Annie, I think our captain, called our team Volt B.
So, to start us off, what's your name and what team are you representing?
So I'm Raifi. On paper, I'm leader of paper numbers, but honestly, it's more or less Yalti currently. And I'm like the co-captain of paper numbers team. And I'm leading the upper end, so the battleships, battlecruisers, main DPS.
What groups does your team draw from, and what do they do on Tranquility?
The 3 main corps in our alliance currently all came from Literary Trigger before, which is a soft alliance that is currently still part of Winterco. Like the last member of the old Tri Alliance, which was Lordy, DTS, and Eltric. But I think all the other ones got kicked, and Eltric is still in Winterco, and they're doing pretty fine right now. And we were mostly the German part, and we split off, and now live in C2.
What's your favourite ship to fly in the tournament?
My favorite ship to fly is... It's hard to say. I would say it's the Armageddon. It's one of my most favorite ships of all time. Sadly, I couldn't fly it so far because a lot of people tend to ban it for some reason. I don't know. Maybe because it's really good with the long range use. But I really like TFI as well. That's, I think, the ship I flew most in all tournaments so far.
What edge do you think Paper Numbers has that's allowed them to get into this final weekend?
We have really good fits that are really on the edge of what's possible. Like, we refined every fitting to the maximum. And we did a lot of scrimming beforehand. Like, we were training for the last 80 a lot with the main core as well. And now for just the Anger Games, we had like 3 or 4 months, at least one training a week. And we really used all the trainings to improve our comms, improve our fits, so they match very well together.
So have there been any plays or moments that you're particularly proud of so far in this tournament, either from yourself or one of your teammates?
I think the call, like the last game, we predicted they bring Leshak, and we just brought a combo where we knew we can just straight up kill a Leshak with no problems, and it just worked like a charm. And I had a few pretty decent MJDs in the one match against the Gila Kiting comp. Like, usually I'm pretty happy with one good MJD, and like every MJD I did in that match was on point. But we had a few training sessions just MJDing all night.
So are there any other teams that you're particularly looking forwards to playing against?
Like, I really want revenge on VOLTB for kicking us down in the losers bracket. But honestly, they look very strong. I think it's VOLTA's main team. With like Planet 6's Logi is really, really strong. Circle Freak and all those guys. Like, they were stomping me like when I started playing 6 years ago, and they were good back then. And I think they didn't get worse, they got better. So it would be really hard to get there, a win there. But I would really see forward if we could stomp them.
Alright, so can you introduce yourself and your role on the team, please?
I'm SKYKILLER, and I'm captain of Brainstraw Capital Supremacy. This is pretty much dark side team, mainly. We have a couple of members, I think 2, that were previously in the Hydra team for Alliance Opens and the Alliance AT-17. Yeah, as for my role, I am the captain. It's actually the first tournament that I am the captain in.
So what did Darkside do on Tranquility?
Good question. So we pretty much, I've been in Dark Side for probably about 4 years, and what we do is like a mid-scale roaming. Our main difference between other mid-scale groups is that we don't usually fly with an anchor. So every single pilot in our alliance knows how to pilot manually. Rarely, I would say rarely fly with an anchor. And, all of us pretty much know what they're doing when it comes to piloting. We live in Maila, and Maila has a Stargate called Perjola, where a lot of capitals die daily. Here comes the name, Perjola Capital Supremacy, for the Hunger Games team name.
So what edge do you think Pujola has that's allowed you to get this far in the tournament?
To be honest with you, we didn't have that many games. We only had 3 games, and on the third one, the edge was the ECM. That RNG factor with the ECM, where at least in my opinion, I think we kind of got lucky with the jams there, which is why we were able to win. It was kind of a joke, so I think the actual reason we got in there, I think it's a combination of good pilots and maybe perhaps good decision making.
Are there any other teams that have impressed you so far in this tournament?
Yeah, I have to give out big shout outs to like the bottom tier teams that went there to the losers bracket on the first day, and they actually got themselves. They're still in the game. They're still in the tournament. So those are Volt A and Paper Numbers. I mean, those are, I believe, the actual teams that deserve the top 8.
Now I guess comes the most important question. Do you think you're going to win?
It's a tough one. I think realistically, I think we have a good chance. I think we have a good chance, but to say that we're gonna win, it's tough to say because looking at templates, they only showed one comp. How are we supposed to know how to? Being honest, because I'm pretty sure they have quite a few tricks up their sleeves, and it's a pretty tough. It's a great team, and But if I do get a chance to fight them, or if I do get a chance to fight the masses, whoever it is, it will be amazing.
Hello, so first of all, can you just tell us who you are and what you're doing in Anger Games 5?
My in-game name is Theronth, Valarax, and I'm doing theory crafting for Volt A in the AG and also in the Alliance tournament team for Volta.
So can you tell me a little bit about what groups your team represents and how they came together as a team?
We obviously represent within Volta the serious and relevance of holding Alliance. The team itself is actually, like, you can trace it back to Verge of Collapse team that took the winner's spot in 8010. And a couple of people from that team, like Staffy Commander, are still around, or Annie Gardet. But yeah, like the core of the team has been playing pretty much like since then. And for AG5, after we placed second in the Alliance tournament, there was like a massive spike in like people wanting to join a team, interested in joining. We actually decided that since it's 7 versus 7, and there are no AT ships on the line, we'll actually get some people who might want to experience the how it is to fly in a tournament environment in the EVE Online, that we did not have space, or we could not get into the AT team. We have also picked up some guys from Tuskers this year for this tournament. We have Mirachi playing with Annie in Volt B, and we got the better end of the stick with picking up Jason Orzen also from Tuskers.
So I have to ask, do you think you're the better Volta team?
There are no betters or worse. All right, in Volta everybody's equal. However, we do have Jason, so I think we do have the edge.
What edge do you think your team has had that has allowed it to progress this far in the tournament?
Well, we've been doing this for a long time at this point. I mean, like since, as I said, the core has been playing, or the team has been playing for a long time. So even though we are split this year, and we are two separate teams, we still have kind of like enough of a knowledge to be able to just swoop in and assess what's going on the grid and try to pick the optimal course of action. And also, I like to think that the setups that we are doing, they are not too horrible, minus that Nighthawk one that we fed in.
So as we move into this final weekend, are there any teams that you're really looking forward to facing?
Looking at the bracket right now, it's again, it's like a little bit tough to decide, but I think I'm looking forward the most against Fafi Wafi and his team, Virgil at Capital Supremacy. We have like I wouldn't call it a grudge, but we have history with Dark Side, and they were always like the matches were always intense. So and the meta is that weird. How was it called? Weird Russian space magic, right? That they have their own meta and they just do whatever the hell they want. And it's always interesting, especially now that we are, a little bit more relaxed about this tournament than AT, and it's not so tense. I would really like to play against him. And also that gives us a chance for Jason to slay Fafi Wafi in revenge for slaying their flagship Argus in AT 17 when they played in Tuskers against Darkseid.
Okay, can you introduce yourself and your team?
I'm Joel Hana from Arrival, and we've been doing tournament stuff since AT17, so we're a relatively new team. But we've been practicing a lot. We've actually put a lot of effort into it, so we take this like semi-seriously.
So where do your team members come from and what do they do on Tranquility?
So the main core of the team is made up of Deliverance members. Deliverance is just a small gang PvP corp. They live in a C2 nullsec, doing typical small gang stuff, just trying to fight up into bigger gangs with nano trash. And the other half of our tournament team, we kind of cannibalized from the old Weekend Warrior lineup. So our team captain, Hansi, he's actually the old Weekend Warriors lineup. Our Logi pilot, Howling, Bacardi, they're all from Weekend Warriors 20 as well. So we kind of merged with them. So we had a bunch of people that joined Deliverance from Weekend Warriors, and then we were like, hey, we would like to participate in this tournament. You guys have been doing this for quite some time now. Do you guys actually want to like spearhead this for us? And we provide like the rest of the manpower to do this. And but yeah, technically speaking, on TQ, everyone is in Arrival, with the exception of me currently.
Are there any ships that you consider yourselves to sort of specialize in?
So for the team, it's definitely the Waage. We've had obviously some success with it so far in Anger Games, and we've been practicing this Waage comp for quite some time now. So I think we just enjoy it as a team. It's a very versatile thing. We can adjust the fit depending on bands and what we're feeling like that day.
What about the other teams in the tournament? Is there anyone else you're really looking forwards to fighting against?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's our next matchup against Darkside. We're going to face them in I think it's the semis at this point, and they are our main practice partner. They have been for pretty much a year now for everything tournament related, and they are super awesome practice partners. I can't say it in any other ways. They are always on time. They always help us figure stuff out. They don't mind bringing comps if we ask them. They are super accommodating. After they had a really good run in AT17, they actually donated us a Raiju for like practicing with them. So these guys are super cool, super chill dudes, and I think we're going to have an amazing match against them. So we're looking forward to that one a lot.
What about the whole tournament? Do you think whichever one of you wins this is going to go on to take the whole crown?
Yeah, we're definitely looking good. I think Darkside more so than us, but maybe I'm just trying to be too humble here. I think best chances so far are the other two teams in the semis, like either Templars or Two Comps. I would say they're the clear favorites so far. Just looking at how they performed so far in the tournament, it's pretty impressive how well oiled they are. It's very nice to watch.
Welcome. First of all, can you tell us who you are and who you're flying with?
So I go by Brainstraw and Eve, normally in like tourney settings and just like TQ settings for small gang. I mostly fly like a support role. Obviously, I got really popular flying the carries. Currently flying for the aggressively mid-tier team, which is, well, most people are just calling it rote. I've kind of been flying more cruisers and up just because I was kind of a latecomer to the team this season, and I think they had most of the support roles filled in already, so I'm kind of just flying whatever they need me to fly at this point.
So where has your team drawn their players from for this tournament?
The aggressively mid-tier team, pretty much aside from myself, they're all parts of Rote Capel. I personally have been part of Hydra since 2015, and I fly for their AT team, which is actually where I met Brent. As far as TQ, though, me, Brent, and another member of the team, Alice Hecate, we play with Gorin, which is basically just like a collection of some Hydra pilots that actively play, and some other players from various groups that actually do have teams in this tournament as well. I mean, most people know what Road is. They've been a long-standing alliance in the small gang community for a pretty long time now, and I'm pretty certain at the moment they're staging out of Pochven, just, like using filaments to roam around Nullsec and whatnot.
So what edge do you think aggressively mid-tier has that's allowed them to fight their way into the top 8?
They're just really eager to learn, man. Like, obviously, there always is room to improve for anybody in the game as far as like individual skill and as a team, but these guys are just really open for like feedback. I felt kind of awkward coming into the team late just because I have never really been close with any of the rote guys aside from like Brent and Alice. But when I give them some tips just on like piloting and just like general tournament knowledge, they are very receptive, which I think is a really important, I guess, trait to have for newer players to the tournament scene.
How much work have you guys put in to prepare for this tournament?
So we've been kind of averaging 2 to 3 practices a week. Sometimes we'll try and fit in, an extra one if people are available. And we've had some occasional just like drills, we'll run like screening drills for our smaller ship pilots and stuff like that. And we do a lot of like theory crafting together.
Finally, I guess I got to ask you the most important question. Do you think you're going to win?
I would very much like to. I can't really say for certain because I think that the spread of talent for this tournament is actually pretty healthy. There's not like one team that's overly dominant. So of course, I'm going to say, I think we do have the potential to win. It's just going to come down to the theory crafting and execution.
All right, so first of all, who are you and what team do you represent?
I go by CharleyTheChair, and I fly with Tournament Team.
So, where does Tournament Team draw its members from?
So most of us are from Wildcard, a couple PL, and then we had some other token members. Most of us are just nano gangers, small gang, pretty much whatever's fun. We like fighting outnumbered. A lot of the guys know each other from the PL's AT team.
Is there anything that you think is really going to give your team an edge in these show matches?
All of us just really play various games together and just get along really well. All throughout my practices and everything, it's a stressful time, and there was never a time where anyone was frustrated with each other, even on the long nights where we're just slogging through comps and everything, and we're losing matches, and it's just frustrating. No one got to the point where there's any yelling or any chest beating or anything. It was just a fun time, pretty much the whole time.
Are there any styles or comps of play that you really enjoy getting to bring to the tournament?
I feel like kiting comps are just way more enjoyable than brawling comps. Brawling comps are fun to an extent, but kiting comps is just really where you have to put all of your muscle memory and all of your skill into it, because like if you get caught, you're dead, and that's just, there's no tanking or anything. There's no there's no luck to it. To me, you have to. It's just pure skill.
What do you think about the micro jump drive field generators being allowed in these show matches? Is it something you're looking forwards to?
I'm super excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and even though people think on the out or on the offshoot that it's going to be overpowered, which I don't think in tournament play it really belongs there, but I think in these show matches it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Would you encourage the people that are listening to try their own hand at tournament gameplay?
I think everyone should be trying to get to this gameplay. It is some of the most fun I've ever had in Eve, and it's consistent. It's not as you're taking the sandbox aspect of Eve out of it, and you're just having scheduled PvP, and you're in this box that you have to figure out how to beat all of these different puzzles, and it's just one big puzzle after another, and I love it.
Do you have any advice for someone who's looking to get into tournament play?
Be humble and find yourself a role that's not a battleship. Everyone wants to be the big DPS guy, but it's just important to be the tackle pilot or the links pilot. Um, there's a lot of roles out there that you can fill that's not just doing DPS.
All right, do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
I mean, I just really want to tell everyone that participated that I'm super proud of them, no matter where they landed in placing or anything. I'm just really really happy with the turnout, and it's been awesome.